Hello everybody and welcome to the video notes for Unit 4, Day 3. Yesterday we talked about how addition and subtraction are related, and today we're going to be talking about how multiplication and division are related. Today's video is dedicated to Anthony in 6C. Hi Anthony. Before we get started, I want to first talk about multiplication notation. So in math, you're going to see multiplication represented in a few different ways. So the way that you're most familiar with is if I wanted to write out 5 times 6, you might write 5 times 6 with this multiplication sign. Another way that you might see a multiplication, especially once we start working with variables, is 5 times, and then the times sign is actually going to be a little circle, little dot, just like that, 5 times 6. So whenever you see a little circle in the air, just like that, just remember that that is always the same thing as multiplication. So this also means 5 times 6. And the reason why in math we do this sometimes is because when you're working with variables, and if you wanted to write a times b, it's clearer to write it as a times b, because if you use a multiplication sign like this, you might think, oh, is this a times b or axb? You're not sure. So that's why we use this symbol instead. Okay, now that we know that, let's take a look at our example. It's asking us to draw a tape diagram, that's with the boxes, to represent this following expression, 3 times 4. Remember, this little symbol means 3 times. So 3 times 4. Here's how we can do that. Let's draw out 3 first. Here's one set of 3. Just like that. And we're going to take that and multiply it 4 times. So we're going to duplicate it 4 times. Let's do that. Here's once. Here's another set of 3, that's times 2. Let's add another set of 3. This would be times 3. And one more set of 3, this is now times 4. Now we have 4 sets of 3, 3 times 4. And so altogether, right, you could do the multiplication or count it out, you would get 12 squares altogether. So that's how we can show multiplication with the tape diagram. Now, let's try drawing a tape diagram for division. The expression is 8 divided by 4. So we're starting with 8. Let's draw out 8 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we have 8 squares all together. And we want to divide it into groups of 4. So now we're going to go back into our diagram and split it into even groups where each group has 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's one group of 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many groups of 4 were we able to make? One group here, 2 groups there. So 2 groups of 4. 2 is our answer. That's how you show division with a tape diagram. Now that we've done this example together, what I want you to do is for C, D, and then I also actually want you to try E and F all on your own. C and D should be easy. E and F might be a little bit more of a challenge, but I really want you to try to do E and F on your own because it'll really help you learn it if you're challenging your thinking. Okay, so with that, it's time to pause the video and try these 4 on your own. And if you're doing this correctly, I should see this pause screen on your computers. Let's pause and go. And now you are resuming the video after you tried these 4. So remember, I should see something on each of these 4 problems before you continue the video. Draw a tape diagram for 5 times 3. Well, we have 5. That's one group of 5. Another group of 5. And a third group of 5. 3 groups of 5. Altogether, we have 15 squares. 12 divided by 2. Let's draw out 12 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's 12 altogether. And we want to see how many groups of 2 can we make. Here's one group of 2. Here's one group of 2. Here's one group of 2. Another group of 2. Another group of 2. And another group of 2. Altogether, we can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 2. So our answer is 6. Now we're going to do 3 times 4 and then divided by 4. So let's do 3. One group of 3. And we're going to do that 4 times. So here's another group of 3. Another group of 3. And a fourth group of 3. 4 groups of 3. And then we're going to divide all of this into groups of 4. So let's check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use a different color here so it's clearer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's one group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's another group of 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a third group of 4. And so we can see how many groups of 4 are there. There are 1, 2, 3 groups of 4. So this was 3 times 4 gave us all this. And then divided into groups of 4, we got back to our original number, which was 3. Which brings us to this next part. How can we explain how to write an identity expression using multiplication and division? Well, when you multiply a number and then divide it by the same number, you get the original number. Because remember, an identity is when you end up with the same thing you started with. So with multiplication and division, it's when you multiply and divide by the same thing. So if you got all that on, if you got the first 2 on your own, 2 gold stars for you. And if you got these 2, E and F on your own, you get a mushroom. Good job. Last thing that we're going to do is these 4 on the bottom. You should be able to do all of these on your own. So I'm just going to have you go ahead and pause and try these 4, and then continue the video when you are ready to check it. So pause, try these 4 right here. Do that now. And now you are resuming the video to check your work. There's no secret word today, but instead what I want you to do is just put a smiley face in the bottom right corner of your paper. So no secret word, but instead put a smiley face in this bottom right corner of the paper right here. 132 divided by 3 times 3 gives us 132, the same thing we started with. If we're dividing by 25 and multiplying by 25, we get this. That means we must have started with that too. A times blank divided by y gives us back to a, so this has to be the same thing as that. So times y divided by y. And s times t, in order to get back to s, we also then have to divide by t. 4 gold stars for you if you got that right. And with that,